Hey there, Weavers. Just a heads up, a little disclaimer before we get this one started. This next arc, but particularly this episode, focuses on the Undying Empire. And we will be building in character an Imperial city, meaning that we are the bad guys. So there are some content warnings coming up, most of them related to war crimes, oppression, undeath, murder, violence, and all sorts of things. It is done in a sort of goofy tongue in cheek way. But if that is not the kind of content you want to listen to, you might sit this one out. Thanks. Game Woman is now proudly part of the One Shot Network. Check out other great podcasts at oneshotpodcast.com.
Now. Patience, patience. I will get to my magnum opus, my greatest achievement, the crowning glory of my city planning department. All in due course, and there were other things which occurred. Important things. Were they as important? Well, perhaps no, but they did happen, and ought to be given their due in the record, even if they lack the same profound gravitas, the omniscient import, the glorious innovation of what was to follow. Lone Preacher Man came to town. Magmallow decided to declare martial law to sweep up the rest of the bones, and we built a new tavern up on the cliffside, and there we're done. Friends, fellow subjects of the Undying Emperor, our city floats. And what's more, it was easy. A simple matter of using a flex stream transformer to convert the adambilateral arcanion courses produced by the blood fountain into contradirectional kinetocations, which then obviously are discharged by the repulsolithic dynamos, which, but I forget myself, you see. These concepts are, of course, manageable to those who have dedicated their lives to the study of the arcane sciences, well as the lucky few like myself, whom the Emperor has blessed with a bit of a knack for the technical. But it may be a mite touch heavy on the jargon. And while how it was done is interesting, that is not nearly as important as why. And the truth of the matter is that it was done because it was inevitable. Progress is inevitable. Innovation is inevitable. Just as the glory of the Undying Emperor will be seen in all lands at all times forever and ever, this city was always meant to fly. And if not here, then some other place, some lesser place, some place with nothing to give the lands it would yet see but drudgery. So I embraced the inevitable and began to realize the dream of making us the city that would bring the glory of the Undying Emperor to the world. I made the birds go.
As we vote, we're just voting yes or no. Does this solve this specific problem you were trying to solve?
Correct.
And here we go. 3, 2, 1.
We got one vote for yes.
8.
Because technically all the pieces of the bone are going to be going. I'm like, it does, like, technically all the pieces. Well, yeah.
That's fair.
If Bree or Rob suggested this, I'd have been like, sick, sure.
But because of the character Chuck
It's
Walla,
your character. Yes.
Because Chuck Walla did this, my brain's convinced there's no way it worked.
my thinking is that it's actually physically impossible because we just have one blood fountain running. And like it would require so many of them along with other siphons. Like this is
In my head, we're running this off of the, like, afterglow of a ritual, like, as opposed to having, like, a whole ritual dedicated to this.
Yeah. So I like and this is my imagining, and we can decide what's cooler. But my imagining is it basically causes an earthquake. It goes up a little tiny bit, and then it just kind of sinks right back down, and then the blood fountain dries up. Like that's it. That's all.
So that is possible. But also, I like the idea of it permanently levitating 3 inches off the ground.
Yeah, like I imagine it's a fully floating city. It can't move because it hasn't cleared the ground.
Yeah.
Like the amount of like an
Yeah.
iceberg. It hasn't. It is like hits the edges of the crater it made.
Suggestion. It's floating just high enough that if it were to drop back down, it would basically destroy the entire city. So more and
Yeah.
more bodies have to be fed into the fountain to keep it going.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
my
God.
like that is my like my no is this
It's
creates
unsustainable.
so many like that's it changes the power from, or it changes the complication from, we still need to find all of the bird skeleton. It solves that part of the problem, but like
I think the people give that shit up immediately. Like,
Yeah, it's like put the city back, have the bones. We don't care.
the
Like we
holdouts
just took
return
our
it.
whole city hostage.
Yeah.
right, and now we need to somehow maintain the level of power draw. It gives us a different problem.
Blood for the blood fountain.
Exactly. Blood for the blood fountain.
Losing team goes in the blood fountain.
Skulls for the bird skull.
In spirit of this wild swing, I think if we just have Zad change the complication instead of the normal structure, I feel that feels right to me.
I actually
Yeah.
really like that too. I just think that's really interesting that like this
Yeah.
city is sort of in this weird stasis where like it'd be cool if you could get it to go back down, but that would destroy the city. Like even this amount of land falling only 3 inches, every
Is a
single
lot.
structure in person
Bad.
that's gonna kill it. Like it's all
Yeah.
gone.
Everyone's dead.
exactly.
Like I'm not gonna sit here doing the math on like how
Yeah.
much weight and like that would like. I'm just gonna say that's enough. You know.
Yeah. I also really like the visual of this. If you're visiting the city, you actually have to step up into it. Like,
Yeah.
Mhm.
there's a step that you have to take.
Like all the roads now add like a single step.
Yeah.
Yeah, so getting wagons in here.
Bit of a pain.
We basically have to make a new set of scaffolds that can kind of like
Yeah.
be attached and and deattached, because it's like kind of
I'm sure the merchants put ramps in and stuff, but still, like the idea that you have to.
No, I was thinking because of where we are, they wouldn't make it wheelchair accessible.
Right. They make the
Well, yeah,
steps
it's like-
inconvenient because they're evil.
And my thought is, like, we can't put in ramps because, like, it's slowly rotating, like it's free floating. But it's not like it's sitting still, right? It's just kind of ever so slightly, just kind of like rotating and moving within its little crater. So we have to be able to like
It was
take
free
them off
floating.
and re-put them
It's
back
someone's
on.
job to readjust. Like there's teams of people who like you grab a rope and just spin it back in place every day.
We have massive like systems of ropes to like anchor it so it doesn't rotate as much.
We don't have that yet. We're going to. Well,
That will be something that maybe we have to do. That's
Fair.
great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Holy shit!
that was amazing.
Last round, big
Zad.
swings. There. Yeah.
Also-
that was.
I had to get up and walk away.
I saw you.
Yeah.
I saw you catch on to what was happening, and almost had stopped.
I'm glad I'm here because I was just sitting here going, "Don't you fucking do it." Oh,
I can tell by
the
I
clue?
can tell by the look on your face.
What was the clue? Like, what tipped you off to that being the play?
I don't know. I just suddenly like, no, Zad's gonna make the city float.
The second miracle of Saint Alexis.
Hey Lex,
Uh-huh.
I have a question because you know
Uh-huh.
Urstella better than me.
Uh-huh.
What would like the organization that Urstella is like setting up? What would they call themselves? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what is the little like sleeper cell that Urstella would kind of set up here? What would that be?
I
called?
mean, If you don't want to get caught, you don't give yourself a name.
Sure, okay, but
Priscilla's
if it got to the
really
point,
good.
if it got to the point where they could make demands,
Oh, they would never make demands.
okay,
They would
understood.
surreptitiously erode the power base of the empire here
Okay,
in the
understood.
most subtle way possible. Urstella's there as a distraction for like Urstella's there being loud and bright to look like he's got a whole thing going.
Sounds good. Then I got it. Well, fellow council members, in what I can only assume will be my final year as administratics, third class, I would like to attempt to set this city right in the best way that I can. I propose a series of anchors across the edge of the city, both physical and magical. I believe some amount of systems of anchors and ropes should keep it the unfortunate rotation within this crater that the city is going through. It is not only does it make the tracking of time more difficult than it need be, but also I've been told the still living citizens of this fair city are finding it quite disorienting, as well as many other knock-on effects. However, in including these more mundane anchors, I think it very prudent we create some kind of magical system to ensure the enchantment which was put upon this place stays in place. As much as I would very much like to undo this enchantment, I can say with much authority as I can muster that to do so poses too great a risk of ruining all of the progress that has been made and ending this project. Much too soon. So while it will be cost a great deal of resources and upkeep over time, believe it in this city's and this council's best interest to create a system of large arcane contraptions which will keep this hovering status as is until further notice.
If the city is to continue, I mean, we've collected all the pieces of the bird, so this project will not be terminated, at least on that course. So the city is to continue keeping it stable so work can still get done will be of importance. And perhaps if it can be, these stabilizing measures can be built in a way that they can be taken down and repurposed when the city has outlived its usefulness.
Indeed. My hope is, since the only thing keeping this city floating is the blood fountain set up, the thralls within the city are becoming inoperable very quickly, as they are currently the weakest source of power for this fountain, and so they are being drawn upon quite quickly. So,
Might I make a recommendation for the arcane contraption?
please.
What we need is a source of power for it that is more renewable. Might I recommend a moon fountain?
Interesting.
Now, Counselor, if you could explain the basic contraption, like the basic mechanism of a moon fountain.
It's similar to the blood fountain siphon. It powers itself through the light of the moon and the movement of the sea tides. Oddly enough, I think that our little plot of land might now be, in a weird way, tidally locked, since it is currently free floating. Thereby, the elevation raises by a slight amount at night due to the movement of the moon and comes back down. A moon fountain would be perfect.
Wouldn't it be more effective to use a collection of moon mirrors?
I mean, that's fine too, I suppose.
From my understanding of how the mirrors work, is it multiplies the effect and can be used to essentially trap some of the energy of the moon.
I'm fine with that. I'm just in for a penny, in for a pound on the fountain thing.
My fellow council people, my understanding, based on initial reports, is that we will need multiple kinds of magical contraption to ensure stability for the
That's
future.
a very good point. Larissa, I know we've had our differences, but I think that there is a synthesis here. We align the mirrors such that they refract moonlight directly into the fountain.
Combine sources of magic together.
Dangerous, yes. Effective, extremely.
As much as I would.
Lex is like so exacerbated. Like, where are we coming up with this bullshit?
No, sorry.
We're
When
pulling
you-
it out
I-
of our ass.
No, you said dangerous, yes, and you said effective,
extremely,
extremely. I'm out of it. I did not hear a positive in there.
Dangerous? Yes. Effective? Maybe.
Yeah, that's what I
Best
took
we
out
got
of
at
that.
this point.
So I was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
I take all of this with consideration, but I believe, unless Consular Magmalo, you have wisdom to the contrary, I think this may be a good stopgap, at least for the time being, until a more permanent or stable solution could be found to the current predicament.
I don't really understand magic stuff.
Very well.
I just kill people.
A respectable trade, indeed. It is possible that adding the mirrors to the blood fountain could help increase the power and make stabilizing this now floating city more achievable until the solution can be reached.
And of course, my hope is that eventually we could find a replacement for the blood fountain, as if things are to keep going, we may be one of the very few cities in the entire empire that can't rely on undead labor. Let us hope that it does not come to that.
What say you? Do you like the solution? What is your complete solution now that you've heard some of us out?
Well, the mundane anchors to stop the city's rotation, I believe, will be an acceptable solution. And then I believe more research will be required to replace the blood fountain without risk of the underlying enchantment being destroyed. So I believe that under the counsel of some of our more magically knowledgeable council people, we shall indeed use these moon mirrors and rituals to enhance the blood fountain to make sure that its enchantment will not wane over time.
At least giving us more time to have other solutions to be brought forward. This is a rather unique predicament we find ourselves in.
Very much so.
Terrific. Any disputes?
I would issue one stating that if we put the mundane anchors in place, then it stops the city from being able to float. To make the delivery of the bones, which was the point of doing the whole thing in the first goddamn place. But I suppose if we're
You don't get to complain right now.
Council Chuckwalla, frankly, the city cannot clear the crater its ascent has created.
The city isn't going anywhere. If it's going anywhere, it's going to go down, and it's all going to fall apart. The single fountain is not quite strong enough to do what you tried to do.
A dozen isn't strong enough.
well, then build 2 dozen. Damn, like what
Councilor
do you mean?
Chuckwalla.
Like we are the Undying Empire. We can do
Councilor
whatever it
Chuckwalla.
is that we set our mind to.
These are the kind of issues we would have brought to you Had you consulted with your council before attempting this ill-advised maneuver? You are very lucky that the codices surrounding such a council does not permit me or any of our council members to permanently destroy you at this time.
Well, it's a good thing that the Emperor, in his wisdom, deigned it as such, so that when inevitable progress is made, those with the foresight to embrace these projects, those with the courage to forge ahead, are not summarily executed by a bunch of cowards and naysayers.
It is not the creativity of your solutions that I object to. It is the short-sightedness of your planning in executing these solutions. Your goal could have been possible with proper research and planning. Now we're in a different problem entirely.
No, you say that now. I've seen this all play out before, you see. When a true visionary emerges, somebody who is put in a place by the glory of the Undying Emperor, put in a place in order to disrupt things, in order to change things, in order to create something new. All those that's around them, they serve as little more than stumbling blocks, little more than brakes on the ever-turning wheels of progress. Something like this, something big like this, it was always going to happen eventually. And we have all been blessed by the wisdom of the Undying Emperor that it happened here, and it happened now, and it happened to us. Yes, of course, we do need to make some adjustments. We need to spur further innovation, all in the cause of sustaining this great miracle that the glory of the Undying Emperor has provided to us.
I will not deny that this will certainly draw attention to our fair city. But at this time, we need to solve the problems directly in front of us.
Absolutely.
Councilor Lafleur.
I have a proposal for another way to address the power problem that we might face in the future of this city. The blood fountain will need to be fed, and it is currently feeding off of thralls, which is unsustainable long term. I recommend we create a structure to hold prisoners and sacrifices from across the kingdom, however far we need to go, to allow for a steady supply of blood for the fountain. We can create a place to house those who serve no better purpose than to be sacrificed.
I would like to voice some concern with this plan. While I certainly do not relish the idea of a city without the many benefits undead thralls bring to it, I fear the optics making this city reliant on a steady stream of sacrifices would bring. We currently are a city which has done something hastily ill-advised, but it is no one's problem but our own. Were we to now require other cities and regions to help solve this mistake, this error, for that is what it is, it now goes from something we did to something we have now done to the rest of the region.
I had the thought of it being used to potentially cull unnecessary members of the population, but I do understand your concern. Perhaps instead creating something where people can study the magic that is keeping this place afloat and experiment in small scale to find new ways to keep it going and perhaps improve on what was done. a school of sorts located near the fountain.
Yet additional opportunities to make this place a place of learning and a place of excellence and a place of achievement. Now, in Mistratics, you continue to refer to what has been done as a mistake and as a burden. And if you continue to refer to it that way, then that's how everybody else will see it. We ought to call it what we may not think of it as now, but what we want it to be. It was not a mistake. It was not foolish. It is an opportunity. And people will gladly donate their excess, their spares, the dregs, the things that they don't want lying around, for an opportunity? For something great and glorious? Give them the opportunity to invest. Shoot, we'll come by. Once we get the city all up and running and flying, we got a big stadium. Throw them a party. They can drink at the hole in the cliff. The legendary hole in the cliff. Ain't no bar has ever had views anywhere near as beautiful as the Grand Tavern of the Hole in the Cliff.
I'm afraid I have lost track completely with what is being proposed. It has been buried. Bring us back home, please, Clarissa.
I propose creating a place where people can come and study the magic that has been cast upon this place. Have a workshop area where they can attempt experiments with similar magics on a smaller scale to learn more about it, maybe find a way to more sustainably keep their city floating. And it's an opportunity to bring brilliance to this place, to turn this misstep into something greater, because I am still not thrilled with how things came about with this. I do agree that our presentation will have an impact on the future of this city, and creating a place for people to study this strange, improbable thing that has happened would reflect better on us to make it look like this was done intentionally and with purpose and planning and not impulsively, which will lessen the likelihood of punishments or executions for the five of us.
A learning institute, an arcane learning institute. I think it's terrific.
Excellent opportunity.
An educated populace is a productive populace.
Oh, absolutely.
Of course, only certain people would be allowed to come and study there, of course. We can't have just anyone messing with these kind of magics.
It's also easier to control the flow of information when you control the source of it.
Indeed.
Do I hear any disputes?
No, I say we get it on the map.
Indeed. We will have a arcane institution.
Well, then that will be the final act of this council. We will meet in 2 weeks' time for our final review meeting, at which point we will disband and leave it in the hands of the local governorship.
Well, I think we did some wonderful work here, folks. It's been a real pleasure working with you.
We certainly did something.
I hate most of you.
Now we go to epilogue. I don't know if there's an actual epilogue
yeah.
mechanic, but we do get to have some space to discuss kind of what we did and some other things. I think I'd be very interested to hear what our council people move on to. Oh, Rob, did you have something?
It says, it's the end of the second year. Your time on the council has finally ended. Congratulations! You've survived, ideally in one piece. But what about your city? And what will you do next? First, talk about yourselves. Running a city has been hard, and you all deserve the spotlight for a moment. In turn order, each council member reveals their role card and shift card and briefly explains what they were trying to do. Did you fail? Succeed? Did your plans change? Feel free to answer or refuse to answer any of these questions.
I'm also interested to find out in the fiction what becomes of each council member.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
At least in the short term after this.
Well, first of all, my role was the criminal.
No, really.
I knew you were up to some bullshit.
I don't know what you mean. And my shift was you start to lose touch with your humanity.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
perfect for you. Oh my.
Oh,
Okay,
that's
yeah.
good.
That's
Yeah.
great. Especially because you're basically a werewolf, right? Or like some sort of a
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just yeah.
So yeah, what I was like, okay, crime in the Empire. What's the biggest crime against the Emperor? Trying to find a way in for rebellion.
Okay.
So the tunnels that I mentioned first thing are connected to the tunnels from Zala.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, true. We actually
Uh-huh.
disconnected them.
Solve
Uh-huh.
that problem.
I just picture there's at least one Zala runner doing that thing where like they have like starfish like trying to keep themselves from falling as they go.
Uh-huh.
I'm like,
Uh-huh.
what?
No, 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 no.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So what becomes of Lupin?
Oh, he fully succumbs to the curse of his homeland of Bronze Hollow
Mm-hmm.
and is let loose into the wild as a sorry, gray folk is when they control it, right? It's been a
Yeah.
minute.
We don't actually have a term
Yeah.
for when they turn,
Yeah. We
Yeah.
when they're unable to control it.
Just
But it'd be like the
monsters.
Marathonian's son from that wedding scene that the hunter brings back.
Yeah. Hunter Gray's
Yeah.
older brother, I believe is what it was.
Hmm.
So yeah, House Magmalo. It's a house where they originated from Zalo, and their goal this whole time has been to seed rebellion within the Empire as an inside man.
Nice.
Incredible.
And I don't think it worked.
Oh, hold on. Because now it's my turn.
What the fuck? What the fuck?
My archetype was man of the people. My shift is you start to go soft. So Sir Vertaris, at least the one you know, does not show up for the final meeting. Instead, a man in gilded armor identifying himself as Sir Vertaris arrives, apologizing for being so late, but he had some issues up north that delayed him from joining the council, but he's happy to be present for the review. It is revealed that the person you were working with was not Sir Vertaris, but was in fact someone who had gotten some fake paperwork and was also trying to sow the seeds of rebellion in a frontier city.
Immaculate.
So Clarissa, the you clocking me as incompetent? Oh no, malicious would have been a better word. So my goal was to empower the people as much, reduce harm as much as possible, but more importantly, set things up in such a way that a resistance could start to get its grips. Once Urstella was revealed, I decided I did find him, and we coordinated. Those moon mirrors, Urstella's moon powered.
Oh right, he's sun
Kinda
powered.
is, but like there's
Sure.
like Urstella.
The moon is the sun, remember?
Yeah, this moon doesn't have its
Yeah.
own light.
I thought it was an ironic thing,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm assuming that the moon mirrors help power Lunas or something. Like the goal of putting the moon mirrors in or putting a moon fountain in was
Yeah.
so that Urstella could just siphon power for himself
Mm-hmm.
and get a better foothold.
For me, my plan wasn't to like seed rebellion from within the city. I was trying to get rebels into the city and have a place where they can like hide and
Oh.
shit.
Oh, I also had
Me too.
Nice.
Mother-
Yes. Oh no, we're all secret rebels. Oh no, hold on. The other thing is I definitely warned the rebels before the Imperial renewal. And got them out of the
Well-
radius.
So I was the peddler.
Oh.
And so the reason that I put the prison that doesn't have a lot of guards and the dock that's mostly like just protecting the water on top of the holes is like, so if people need to like buy the into the city, I can give them a good way into the city. The magic school also gives people a way to get into the city. That's why I wanted the bar to stay a bar.
I wanted to put the bar up on the cliff so rebels would have easier access to it.
See, I put the bar above the hole so rebels would have easy access to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then then my shift was your continuous relationship with another council member has become a personal grudge. Why? At first it was going to be with Ben, but then it switched to the other person who seems to be a peddler charlatan of sorts.
And who's
well,
that?
you know.
Love you, Zad. Lots of love. Are you also a secret rebel?
No, absolutely not.
I've decided that Clarissa at one point was in a similar position in life as Maeve was. Perhaps traveling with a different troop, but that is her connection, and she talked her way up.
Oh, okay.
She's a witch. And she's probably spent some time around the Shadal area. So that's why she knew about the titles, and is okay, well, I know people who might be using these.
After getting out of council duty, what happens to Clarissa? Where is she at the end of the story?
I think after she finishes, she spends some time in the school and goes down to the docks one day, goes swimming, and just isn't seen again. She just kind of disappears.
Okay.
Everyone just seems like she's kind of one of those people that she just kind of disappears. She'll just vanish and she'll pop back up again later.
Just ticking all of the Bree boxes.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
Vitaris and Clarissa are both in the wind.
Yep.
Yep.
All right. I was playing the Innovator. Society has never gotten anywhere without risk takers like you. And choose one. The best risks create opportunities for everyone, or the best risk creates opportunities for you. Both. You know, why choose? The shift card that I got was you become obsessed with solving one of the complications.
Ah.
Did I go about that in the stupidest way imaginable? Of course I did. I'm the Innovator.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
Nothing
that was
ventured,
amazing,
nothing
by
gained.
the way.
I loved it.
Croc Chuckwalla, after getting off of the town council, is a local celebrity. Is always at the Six Knives Stadium. Is constantly glad handing with anybody who is well to do. He's not in any official elected, not elected, but he's not in any. He does not have any institutional power. Now that his stint on the city planning council is done, but by nature of the fact that he's well connected and extremely good at bullshitting, he remains one of the most powerful people in the city.
So, I feel like most people would expect that I was one of the orderly roles, but I was actually one of the catech roles. I was the skeptic.
Oh, okay.
I thought you were going to be
Okay.
the ancient. Because
So I was hostility to others' new ideas is preferable to advancing ideas of your own, which definitely came across a lot more in the first year than the second. But
Yeah.
that's because my shift card was you are wavering. You crave the approval of others. So the way I took that was I was like, okay, so I'm not going to dispute anything, and I'm going to just kind of try and waffle on everybody, but also kind of support, but kind of turn around what everyone is doing. And I think the reasoning for that is because they saw this coming. They knew what by the second year, I think when we got that decree, the Administratics already knew what was gonna happen to them at the end of this story, which is that the Administratics, the larger organization, the Bureau, I guess, the Bureau of Administration or something. I'm sure there's a better empire-y name that we could give it.
I think I've been calling it the Administerium.
Sure. So the Administerium, at the end of this 2 years, would look at the work that the Administrax has done and say, unfortunately, at this time, the necromantic energy being used to keep you animate is better served serves the Empire better somewhere else, and they're basically going to go from a living corpse to a dead corpse that at some point, if some other people fuck up really bad, maybe they'll be brought back to life.
You
But
just put it in the fridge somewhere.
Yeah. Basically, the Administratics is just going to be put in a fridge for a long ass fucking time until a bunch of other people fuck up bad enough that he's all of a sudden back to not being the bottom of the shit list.
Is this his first time, or has he been here
No.
before?
Oh god, no. In my head, the Administratics body is like 700 more years old. They've not been like conscious that whole time. Like this would not be the first time that they've been put under, right? But this is like maybe we're even getting into 4-digit like age territory. Like this is like a extremely old corpse that is basically does nothing but live and breathe the codices of rules.
What's really funny is that even though like roughly 60% of your life has been spent on ice, that's not even that bad for an
No,
Administratics third class. Like you're actually sort of in the top half.
Yeah, like until this assignment, I was on a tear, man. I was doing.
I've
I
been
was
awake for 10 years straight.
like honestly, like correct. Like I've been alive. I've been like conscious for 20 years. I'm doing a really good job. Yeah.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I have to say to the Dudley, like at one point we do see Clarissa appearing in the Ramses manor, just being like, "I did my part. I believe the deal is done, and I will see you later."
I like that we had basically 2 traitors, 1 neutral person, and then 2 loyalists, and they were only one of them is actually who you would think it was.
I like the idea. Part of the reason I pushed so hard in the last ones is I like the idea of an Empire City that can't have a bunch of undead labor. I like this. I like this as part of the hook for this city.
Yeah, that does, and I think the magic, like the new Magic Academy, can be pretty interesting, especially if you get some boiler room witches up in there.
There's a lot of room for whimsy, conflict, and intrigue. Like this is definitely got every ingredient in this too.
4 kids of varying age and background could live in here somewhere
and get up to all sorts of mischief, Spielbergian mischief.
But yeah, I was actually taking notes during it of when I went with something, went against it, and my reasoning why, just in case I forgot. But I remember for the stadium, I intentionally acted like I hated it. I actually thought it was a great idea, but I was like, but I'm gonna pretend I hate it to cover my tracks. Because if it's a stadium, because more people are in the city, easier it is to hide rebels in the city.
Yeah, exactly.
Lots of people moving in and out. I also like the idea, like, this city, depending on how far after this game chronologically Kids on Drakes is, this is a city with only a year of history, right? The entire city fucking died and then was repopulated out in a year. This is not this is a place without a sense of place yet, or like a sense of like tradition or community yet.
Literally ungrounded.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. We have one last thing we have to do.
Oh yeah,
we have to name it.
That
is in the text. We are following the rules. We have to name it before we sign off.
Once you've justified all your mistakes and emphasized your meager successes, discuss what happens to the town in the aftermath of your tenure in the city planning department. Do you think the city has what it takes? What have you done to the world outside? What have you done to yourselves? So, any last thoughts on the ramifications of all of this?
Lots of weird, interesting magic study, even with the skeleton gone.
Yeah,
a lot of.
Oh yeah, I'm very excited to establish things that the Empire's done with the skeleton of one of the 4 Leviathans.
I don't know if I want to over discuss what happens to the city because we're going to start. I mean, that's the rest of this arc.
Correct.
Yep.
It needs a name, though.
Remember what the dictionary said: a city is no city without a name. Before you leave your seats on the council for whoever and whatever comes afterwards, Name your city in bold. Give it a name appropriate to what has happened here. Then take your coat, empty out your locker, and whether your city has ended in peace and prosperity or in fire and brimstone, give yourself a pat on the back. You did a great job. Go birds. Bird.
I feel like it has like an unofficial name, especially because like this is this floating city that's got like the most talked about stadium for Six Knives. So like it has another name that it goes by, or maybe like there's an epitaph after the whatever.
I think its
number
nickname
this
is just the Hover.
The hover.
yeah.
What about the Emperor's Airy?
So I had someone said how ungrounded this place is, and that kind of gave me some ideas. So I started looking up some Latin stuff for like loose, free, ground, unchained. What about so unattached is solitus? We could call it something like, and then column would be ground, CALUM. So like soul column or column soul or something like that.
That just makes me think of Velicolum.
That's true.
That makes me feel like Column Soul.
I like
Column soul?
Solitus.
Yeah,
Oh, just solitus?
it's the first floating city, Solitus Prime.
Or, yeah. Because we know that they just number shit sometimes.
Yeah.
Solidus
It
Prime
is
is a
true.
transformer.
that is
true.
absolutely a transformer.
Which means Lex, you're in for that name, right?
What's is prime one in Latin?
Primus.
Primus.
Yeah, Solitus Primus. That sounds a little bit less like a transformer.
Or for people
Primo
who like
Solitus.
bands, Primus.
Also, by the implication of Velicolum having the same root word, that does roughly translate to like sky sail, or the Velicolum, the sailing sky, roughly, very loosely.
Oh, I like that.
Velicolum is spelled with like from a different like root.
Oh no,
sound.
I'm just
So
throwing
it's like,
that out there as
It's
a,
like
as a
crab evolution. You always end up at crab.
Yeah, I'm just throwing that out there as a thought. Not
Yeah.
doesn't actually have to mean anything.
It does kind of fit though with the second sunset.
Also, the word for like fly is like volito or volley toss, volley, something like that. Like volition, like of your own volition, you know.
Yeah.
You can fly on your
So,
own.
the name of this town.
I was throwing that volito as like as an option, or like
Oh,
thing to throw in there.
okay.
Solitas was the other one.
Solitus. It's with a bunch of U's.
Solitus.
Solitus. It'd probably be like Solitus.
Solitus Primus.
If we want to be a little less on the nose, we could we could call it like Primsolus.
Mm,
Solus isn't bad.
which also kind of sounds like the first son,
Or Primsolut.
which is even
Ooh.
funnier.
Ooh,
Primsolut.
I think we have to go with Primsolus.
Primsolus.
Yeah.
I like that.
Because that is accidentally
Mhm.
very like I said, the first son.
And I feel like Croc Chuckwalla is the one that pushed most for that.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Put the words together and like doesn't make the sun connection, but
Well, he can also just see it as the first light of the Empire dawning upon
Mhm.
its new.
But we don't like
Land.
absolutely could sell that.
Well,
Would
yeah,
do.
that's your job. You sell things.
Yeah.
You shake things up and you bring people over to your side. Your way of thinking.
Disruptors.
Well, thank you, listeners. That was City Planning Department. We will cease being as bad in the future, and not not bad as in that was poor quality. That was high quality. And if you disagree, you're wrong. We will stop being evil, except for Zad. Zad will continue being evil. That's
you don't know what I have planned.
I was about to
think-
say I feel like it's safe to say just for like this arc, we're all gonna be at least just a little bit evil with this. This is
Yeah, we got
we're
one more.
exploring a bad place. We're exploring the bad place.
There's at least 2 more war crimes in us.
I'm a sweet little angel.
We will keep being evil. That's our solemn promise to you. We
but
will.
there's always going to be hope. Always.
Evil hope.
Also, I just realized Emily hadn't been talking the entire fucking time.
Well, yeah. What?
Yeah.
What would I say? I'm just here to observe
Emily's been listening to us this whole
and
time.
laugh.
Anyway, good night.
I've been here the whole time.
all.
Good night.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Game Woven. For this arc, we are starting with the game The City Planning Department, which was designed for the Wasaga Beach Game Jam in 2018 by Keelan Doyle Myerscough, Andrew Tran, Alex Dawson, William Wu, Paul Geldart, and Raul Altosar. This game also features the voices of Robbie Rowling, T.T. Benjamin, Zakiel Vasky-Huff, Lex Olden, and Brianna June. You can follow us on social media at GameWoven, support us at patreon.com/GameWoven, or over on the One Shot Podcast Network.